Moon, is it great? Moon is a sci-fi film that follows Sam Bell's crazy stay on the moon as he mines helium-3 to supply power to the Earth. This is a real scientific idea that may actually start happening within our lifetime, but I really doubt it will go down quite the way it happened in Moon. His loneliness and isolation is only broken by the AI Gertie, who's voiced by Kevin Spacey. During this movie, not only do we get to see some superb special effects and excellent acting, but we also get to see real scientific ideas played out in a realistic way. I have not seen a science fiction film besides 2001: A Space Odyssey that covered such a variety of science fiction ideas so well without hampering itself down. Let's dive into this film and explore two of the ideas that stand out and why the Moon uses these ideas better than other similar films. There will be some serious spoilers here, so stop now if you haven't seen the Moon yet. Okay, to start us off, let's talk about Sam's clones. If you pay close attention to the first video message from Lex to Sam, you can see a figure standing on the right side supervising the message as it's recorded. It's also quite apparent that Sam's daughter Eve's responses were scripted to her. Sam himself is taken back by an obvious cut in the video indicating someone edited the footage, likely to hide some sort of inconsistency that would have possibly alerted the clones to the false nature of the messages. Between that and the reveal that the jammers were implemented by the Lunar Horizons company, we can deduce that the messages were recorded to create a false narrative for the clones to hold on to after the end of the original Sam's tenure on the Moon. By doing a little bit of digging online, one can find an interview wherein the director Duncan Jones confirms that the original Sam sold his genetic material to Lunar Horizons after the end of his 3-year contract, willingly and for quite a bit of money. A statement that we can see substantiated based on Lexi recording the messages willingly and the original Sam still being alive. But it's just nice to have a solid confirmation to avoid having to argue out all of the evidence to support this point. It is confirmed Sam did sell his genetic material willingly. The reason I bring this up is because all of this paints the picture that Sam Bell not only consented to, but enabled Lunar Horizons' clone-operated base, which enters us into a very interesting science fiction topic, the topic of the rights of an individual. Does a clone have its own separate rights from the original? This is a historically hazy conversation that's pretty tough to give a firm answer on, but even if you feel the answer to this question is absolutely every being has their own rights, genetic copy or not, consider this. Don't we feel a great deal of empathy towards Sam Bell's clones as we watch them face the reality of their situation? In a way, they agreed to this. Sam is clearly an educated individual, well aware of the consequences of allowing Lunar Horizons to create a clone bank, and he has experienced the 3-year contract that each clone is subjected to. He would have nearly the exact same personality and information that the eldest clone had. Even with that experience and knowledge, he still consents to the clone program. Therefore, if each clone were given the same options to condemn the others, they would also agree just like the original Sam Bell did. So are they really innocent? I mean, they never consented exactly, but they would also presumably be willing to sacrifice the others because the original Sam did. If they would submit others / themselves to this fate, are they really faultless in their situation? I don't think there is a right answer to this debate personally, but the point is that Moon gives us such a beautiful look at a common sci-fi idea while maintaining a core story and adding something new to the conversation. Of course, none of this is outwardly told to the audience, but we can infer it all by paying close attention to the subtle details that are all over this movie, which is what makes this idea so well done. Now, not only is that the best take on clones that I have seen ever, but we also have to take a look at Gertie. Gertie is one of the best examples of AI that I've seen in media, and I've seen a lot of AIs. Obviously, we can see the parallels between Gertie and Hal. They talk similar, act similarly, and even look a little bit alike. But Gertie is a distant cousin to the homicidal Hal when you really get into the meat of this being. We have to remember the original purpose of Hal to show us the dangers of AI and how a machine could grow beyond our control. An idea that has been absolutely beaten into the ground by modern media. In almost all other media, when we see an AI, we have exactly 3 variants. 1. The Hal-esque monster. 2. The Jeeves-esque perfect servant. Or finally 3. The basically human AI that people discriminate against because it's an AI. I am personally sick of seeing these 3 archetypes consume what is a really underdeveloped concept. It's even worse because many of these films will reference Asimov's laws without really considering the implications in a more meaningful way. Moon is the first example of a film that I have seen that approaches AI in a more appropriate manner. AIs are machines that have a set of priorities. They are not human, nor are they necessarily monsters like Terminator. When we look at Gertie, we can discover that he has 3 primary priorities. His first priority is to protect Sam Bell. His second is to follow Lunar Industries' commands. And his third is to follow Sam Bell's commands. Presumably he also has some sort of priority to protect himself, but never really comes up. This set of 3 rules is all that governs Gertie's motivations throughout Moon. He is neither a good guy nor a bad guy. He is a machine, and Moon doesn't forget that. Initially when we meet Gertie, the Hal vibe feels really strong, as it appears practically sinister in its motivations. But as the film progresses, we can realize that Gertie is just maintaining its program. It may seem inexplicable the way Gertie begins to help Sam by revealing forbidden information to him, but in each case we can see that he reveals that information to protect Sam, which is the priority above Lunar Industries' orders. When asked questions that the answer to would be harmful to Sam, he deflects, like when asked if the messages Sam sent to Lexi ever made it to her. Obviously they didn't, and Gertie would likely be able to explain why they didn't, but this answer would only further deteriorate Sam's mental state. So instead, he says he can't account for what happens off of the base. However, when Sam asks if he was really a clone, Gertie explains that yes, he is a clone, because within the context of the scene, that was the only answer that would prevent further violence between the 2 clones. It was the best answer to protect Sam, and that is what matches Gertie's programming. To me, this is how an AI should operate, not by becoming a murdering machine like Terminator or some sort of quasi-human, not human thing that wants a mother. Gertie feels like a person, and in many ways, he acts like a person, but at the end of the day, Gertie is a computer, not a human, and his morality is based on the set of programs, not a subjective gray morality like us humans. Which is not accidentally Sam's final statement to Gertie as he leaves the station, as if to remind us, the audience, that Gertie was never human. So to wrap things up, not only is Moon an excellent example of character progression, we get to see the same character at 2 different points in its life, literally all movie. And we see a hinted 3rd stage of this progression in the original Sam Bell's choice to condemn his clones. But beyond that, we get to see one of the best examples of competent AI I can recall, and a wonderful take on the ethics of cloning. I am truly happy a film like this exists, because science fiction has fallen into a rut as of late. It's far too common for the fiction to overwhelm the science, and while I enjoy films like Serenity, Star Wars, or Edge of Tomorrow, all of those films overshadow the possible real conversations that science fiction can initiate with an audience. Moon, however, has not forgotten the lessons of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and gives us new conversations to devour. Science fiction is not synonymous with fantasy, and so many filmmakers don't bother to try to make that distinction. Moon is such a refreshing addition to the genre, and I hope that Duncan Jones finds a way to match these concepts again in the future. Or even better, that other filmmakers are inspired to reinvigorate the genre and bring it to a standard that I don't think has been realized yet. In my opinion, between the acting, the excellent cinematography that you've been seeing this whole review, and most importantly the fresh take on ideas all over this film, Moon deserves a solid 9 out of 10. Hope you guys enjoyed. See ya. So that was Moon. Just finished up watching the review, getting it all edited up. Jamin's seen it.
I like it a lot. I like the conversation about clones, and my man's really right about gray areas. Like, he didn't even bring up are clones people, you know? Is their condemned suffering a crime? Is it a crime on the moon? Like, as for an enslaved workforce, they're treated really well.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the best choice for this company, and companies, there's so many characters within this film that don't have abject morality. Like, when you talk about a corporation isn't a person. Mm-hmm. Gertie isn't a person. Are the clones even people? Like, is there anyone in this film you could call an actual being, like an actual traditional person?
And like, the clone wouldn't have life without this agreement, so is the clone disobeying something on a huge scale by not completing its job, mining the moon? You know,
it's really tough to say, and it's a moral gray area, and that's kind of why I left that conversation, because I think that's what makes the moon cool, is that it enables these sorts of conversations for you to have with your peers, to try to discuss ideas in science that are becoming more and more applicable. And as time goes on, we should really start thinking about these things, start examining AI in a way that isn't so haphazard.
Isn't so... There's conventions to movie narratives. Come on, guys. We get it. The Terminator's cool, but, you know...
Yeah.
You summed it up in the video, and thanks for watching. If you like what we do, like the video, subscribe. I got a question for y'all at home. Do you think clones are people?
I got another question for you, too.
Oh!
I said throughout this film, this is the best sci-fi movie I've seen in ages, since 2001: A Space Odyssey. What other sci-fi movies might I be overlooking? What is something you've seen out there that you think really pushed the limits of science fiction and presented ideas to you that you think are worth discussing.
Probably won't come up, but millions at home, Snowpiercer is not sci-fi.
No.
No.
No, it's a drama. But hey, thanks for watching. As he said, comment, subscribe, support us on Patreon, and we'll see you all next time.
Woo!